Look at the poor guy eating rice with eggs again. Where's the steak, huh, old man? Those words cut into Jorge's chest like knives. He was 60 years old, black, thin, with skin marked by sun and time. He worked as a construction helper on a job site downtown. A simple man, soft-spoken, calloused hands, tired eyes, but full of faith. Every day at noon, he stepped away from his co-workers. He sat alone in a corner of the site. Carefully, he opened the lid of his old aluminum lunchbox. Inside, the same meal as always. Rice, a fried egg, sometimes a bit of flour. Before eating, he closed his eyes. Silently, he said, "This is what God provided today, and I'm grateful." But that day, 3 younger workers noticed his lunch and started laughing. Andre, 25 years old, white, strong-built, mocked. "Look at that! Rice and eggs! Hungry, Grandpa?" The others burst out laughing. Jorge didn't answer. He just bowed his head, prayed silently, and ate. That night at home, he told his wife what had happened. She held his hand, tears in her eyes. She said, "Don't be ashamed of having little, Jorge. God sees everything." He replied calmly, "I know, and I trust him." Days later, something unexpected happened. One of the site engineers, a successful and reserved man, approached during a break. He said he'd been watching Jorge's polite manner, his dedication, his humility. Then he made an offer. He wanted to hire him directly to handle maintenance at a high-end condominium, with a formal contract, a steady salary, full benefits. Jorge accepted. For the first time in decades, he had a stable, dignified job. Over time, he earned the respect of everyone at his new workplace. Months later, he returned to that same construction site where he'd been mocked. But this time, he was driving the modest car he'd bought with hard work and faith. The young men who had laughed at him were still there. When they saw him, they lowered their heads. Jorge simply said, "Life turns around, boys. Mocking someone who has little is an insult to God himself." And he left in peace. Today, at 60, Jorge supports his family with dignity. He no longer has to choose between buying bread or paying the light bill. And he helps others facing the same hardships he once endured. He knows victory didn't come easily, but God never stopped listening. If this story touched your heart, write in the comments, "I believe." Follow our page and share with someone who needs to remember that God still honors those who are humble and faithful. Never be ashamed of having little, because when you have faith, the little in God's hands becomes much.